Imagine enjoying your day with your husband, until you get a weird phone call claiming the car you allowed your daughter to borrow was impounded. And when you pick up the car, not only did you discover the car was abandoned, but there was a dead odor smell coming from the trunk. So when you go confront your daughter about this, you then come to discover that your daughter's child has been missing for over 31 days. By now, most people have heard about the Casey Anthony case, where she was accused of murdering her missing 3-year-old daughter, Kaylee. It was perhaps one of our most recent infamous trials of the century, and became a media circus. But in case anyone is still a little lost about who Casey Anthony is, let me give you a quick backstory. Casey Anthony gave birth to Kaylee on August 9, 2005, after repeatedly denying she was pregnant to her family and friends. And even to this day, no one even knows who Kaylee Anthony's real father is. And keep in mind, Casey was known for having a bad habit for lying, whether it was a small or big one. So one day, after getting into an argument with her family, she took Kaylee away, and went to live with her current boyfriend at the time, who was also a DJ. The only problem was, Kaylee never made it to the boyfriend's home. But during the whole time Casey stayed with her boyfriend, she was partying and drinking heavily nearly every night. Now during this time, Casey's parents get alerted that a car that Casey had been borrowing from them had been towed. So after her father picked up the car, he noticed a horrible unique smell coming from somewhere inside it. At this point, both parents are furious because not only did Casey just abandon their car, but for over a month, they haven't been able to communicate or see their granddaughter, Kaylee. So on July 15, 2008, Cindy Anthony, who is Casey's mother, tracked her down at her new boyfriend's home, where she found them both high early in the morning. She also discovered that Kaylee had been missing for 31 days and immediately called the police. At first, Casey told the police that Kaylee had been kidnapped by her babysitter, whose name was Zenaida Gonzalez, or Zanny the nanny for short. But after looking deeper into the story, they found out that Casey made the whole thing up, and Zanny didn't exist at all. She even lied to the police about her working at Universal Studios. So over the next few months, hundreds of people are searching for Kaylee along with the police. And although they didn't find Kaylee, they did arrest Casey on July 16 for 7 criminal counts, such as lying to investigators and child neglect. They even had to take the trial to Clearwater, Florida instead of Orlando, where the crime actually took place. And that was mainly because they wanted to find a jury pool untainted by the media attention on this case. It was finally on December 2008, when Kaylee was found dead by a utility worker in a wooded area not too far from Casey Anthony's home. 2 years later during trial, the prosecution team said that Casey used chloroform to suffocate her daughter before using duct tape to cover her mouth and nose. They also said that Casey was a party girl who didn't even want a daughter. And if it wasn't for Casey's family, who wanted her to keep the child, Casey probably would have given the child up for adoption. But Casey's defense team said Kaylee accidentally drowned in the family's pool. They even suspected George Anthony, Casey's father, of covering up the accidental death. And by the end of the trial on July 5, due to lack of evidence, the jury acquitted the young mother of murder. She did receive a 4-year sentence, along with a $4,000 fine for the 4 counts of lying to police. But because Anthony had already served for approximately 3 years in prison, her prison time was given credit for time served in good behavior. So she only spent about 2 weeks in there. Now Casey Anthony is living free in the state of Florida. Presumed guilty, Casey Anthony was written by Jose Baez and Peter Gallenbach. And they both dive into the deep secrets, mysterious pasts, and character flaws in witnesses, the Anthony family, and even law enforcement as the court drama went on for 3 years. Now to give you some context, Baez was Casey's defense attorney, and this book is heavily based on notes he took throughout the entire trial. And with those notes, he gave them to Peter Gallenbach, a sports writer, to help write the book and tell his story. In the book, it documents how the media found her guilty months before the trial even began, basing their case on rumored evidence or stories. The media didn't help with the case either, as it was covered with reporters looking for a hot story, true crime writers looking for inspiration, and people looking for something to gossip about. And this was a time where story after story came out talking about this case, ranging from who the real father was, determining if Casey's parents were helping her cover up the murder, and even about how attractive Casey was. During the case, Baez proved the evidence was useless because Kaylee's body was buried for around 6 months before it was finally recovered. And the duct tape that suffocated the child had belonged to Casey's father, who attempted suicide in a hotel he was staying at. It was eventually revealed Casey said that she picked up her habit for lying a lot because she was sexually abused by her father since she was 8. which made people suspect Kaylee was the father's daughter. But this was eventually disproven through DNA results. By the end of the trial, Baez concluded that Casey was simply a scared young mother who really loved her child, but became a pawn as people made money exploiting the death of her young daughter. This book serves as a cautionary tale that shows just how the justice system credibility can be shaken up from the media and people's ability to spread gossip. And facts were getting mixed with fiction. Jurors were talking about the case outside the courtroom. One of the jurors even sold information about the trial to online bloggers during the time. Sure, a number of jurors said the reason that they came back with not guilty was because the state could not prove how Kaylee had died. But there were also interferences where people didn't know whether to believe Casey was this monster the media had portrayed her out to be. Or maybe she was a loving mother who really did care about her child, because witnesses also admitted that whenever Casey was with her daughter, she did not appear to be a bad mother, or even mistreat Kaylee. Unfortunately, we can't depart away from the media's ability to sell headlines, but we can be aware of our own nature when it comes to allowing our judgment to be stirred by outside influences. If you're interested in understanding a lawyer's perspective of the Casey Anthony case, be sure to check this book out. And if you have any true crime books you'd like for me to cover, let me know in the comments below.